You live here, or somewhere around here in this beautiful epicenter of biodiversity, magnificent flora, and fauna. Within protected areas of Monteverde, like the Monteverde Cloud Forest Reserve and the Children's Eternal Rainforest, you can find over 161 species of amphibians and reptiles,
over 450 species of birds,
and over 123 species of mammals. That's a lot of animals, and tons of biodiversity for one area of land, especially if you consider the fact that they all have to share the same resources, like these fig trees. Aside from the wildlife, humans inhabit a large area in Monteverde, which is right on the edge of these reserves, and human interaction undoubtedly has had an impact on the behavior of the animals in the area. Since you live here, you probably know what this is, and you know where it lives. You might have even seen it crossing by here or on another telephone wire. You might have seen this, or these, but you might not have seen this, or these, or know what this is. What are all of these? Why are they here? What do they do? What do they mean? And what does it have to do with this beautiful place that you call home? These are wildlife passages, or a stretch of habitat that connects two or more larger areas of habitat for animals to move across and migrate safely. The wildlife passages in Monteverde have so far all been arboreal, meaning up in the trees for animals like sloths and monkeys, all utilizing crossing structures that stretch over roads, connecting two trees. Crossing structures are man-made corridors created by rope or cord in an effort to connect wildlife to their habitats that have been fragmented by roads and human infrastructure. Keeping wildlife populations and habitats intact is crucial to preventing biodiversity loss and extinction. It might seem like the perfect place with so much to do and so much to see, but there's a problem that's sweeping through the area and wreaking havoc on the natural environment: habitat fragmentation. Habitat fragmentation is when large, continuous areas of habitat are both reduced in area and divided into two or more fragments of surrounding areas of different habitat. This definition is a little dense, so to break it down, habitat fragmentation is when a big area of land is broken up into chunks, effectively fragmenting a continuous habitat. So why is this a big deal? Human infrastructure is here, and it's here to stay. When roads are built and paved, animals all over the area feel the impacts. They can no longer walk across the forest floor safely to reach other populations, food sources, or habitats, and the arboreal species can't migrate effortlessly through the treetops because there are vast open areas that don't have trees to connect and allow passage. If a population can't reach other populations to interact and mate, the threat of extinction is increased, and even more daunting to the environment, society, and economy of Monteverde: the threat of biodiversity loss. Cars, buses, and motorcycles driving fast along the paved roads poses a threat to wildlife in Monteverde because of the threat of being run over by cars, and with the increased traffic, noise, lights, and humans wandering around, animals are more inclined to leave their habitat and search for a new one. If there isn't any place for them to go, what happens? Extinction. So now that you know what the problem is, you might be thinking, how does this impact me? You've probably walked past this or seen this, but you might not have seen these. Camera traps are placed in different areas around Monteverde to study the impact of human disturbance on wildlife, and to see what animals are in the area, where they are, if they're using the wildlife passages in existence, and to study where passages should be constructed. So what are we trying to do with all of this? We want to educate locals and tourists on the presence of wildlife and the human impact on wildlife in Monteverde, so that you can start being a part of the solution instead of adding to the problem. We've implemented signs, arboreal corridors for monkeys and sloths in the areas, set up camera traps to see what animals are around, and to see what kind of wildlife passages Monteverde needs. So now, either you're still ambivalent towards the importance of the entire situation, or you feel the need to get up and do something. You want to do something. You need to do something. But what? Well, this is what you're not going to do. You're not going to catch animals and carry them across the road. You're not going to go around reporting everyone who speeds. You're not going to try to cover the electrical wires with wildlife quarters on your own. And you're not going to tell everyone to sell their cars and stop driving in Monteverde. But here is what you can do. Spread the word. Share the scary news about habitat fragmentation and the importance of wildlife passages to protect and conserve biodiversity. Promote the construction of wildlife passages and reforestation projects. Start a campaign at your school to teach others about habitat fragmentation, wildlife passages, and the impacts of human behavior on native wildlife. And most importantly, be a conscious driver. Don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. Drive slower and be more careful when you're driving on paved roads to watch out for animals that could try to cross the road.